everyone. I'm Pratyush Kukreja from Haptic.ai, one of the world's largest conversational AI companies. We help some of the world's largest global brands engage and serve their customers better using conversational AI. And very happy to be inviting you to this special episode of Conversation.ai, where it's an initiative where we share knowledge, we invite experts from the industry, key stakeholders from the ecosystem, and share best practices. Today, we are joined by a very special and dear friend of mine, Neeraj. 3 years back, when I moved to Mumbai and joined Haptic, he was one of the first people that I met, and we have stayed in touch ever since. We've been fortunate to do some really interesting work with them. And yeah, today I have Neeraj with me. So over to you, Neeraj. Why don't you introduce yourself and talk about what's keeping you busy at home?
Thanks, Pratyush. So I'm Neeraj. I lead mobility and emerging tech as a practice at GroupM. Also looking into my new passion, which is voice for WPP India as a practice. We're doing some really cool stuff on voice. So as we go on in this session, we're going to be discussing a lot of cool work. And COVID is keeping me busy work-wise. You can say a lot of new opportunities are opening up in COVID times. So if 10 people used to chase me earlier, you can say about 50 people chasing me now for solutions. So that's what COVID has done to me. So happy to be in this space, not for mankind, but personally at work, I'm doing good stuff. Some of it we will discuss today.
Absolutely, that's great. And I think COVID has made everyone realize that you need to be digital first if you want to survive in a post-COVID world.
Absolutely.
And if you are leading the emerging tech practices, that's something that would really keep you one of the most wanted people within GroupM. Cool. So let's start, right? At GroupM, I do see that you have been helping brands adopt a cutting edge technology for a very, very long time. So what has been the history of voice technology at GroupM, and how you have helped enterprises leverage voice?
So I think Pratyush, this is a very long answer, but we'll try and keep it shorter. But as a practice, voice as a practice at GroupM exists for almost more than a decade now. So I still remember maybe a decade back when we used to do a voice campaign. It used to be all these plain Manila calls which we used to go out in the rural markets, right? When we used to go for research, I still remember ladies used to get scared and hand over the phone to the male member of the house saying, "Ye dekhiye kiska call aaya," that used to be the reaction those days. And then slowly the technology got bit evolved, and there's a tech which got introduced, which was DTMF, which was nothing but dual tone multiple frequency. So ability of a voice call to become two-way, right? From there, we started building platforms which are running on speech. So the classic example would be your pocket dentist. So you pick up the phone and say, "Dato mein sudden," it understands sudden as a keyword, and then gives you a correspondent response back. This is classic ML, machine learning getting picked up every time a person is calling and talking to devices.
Right.
So from there, we started building solutions which are more on NLP and NLU. So a lot of solutions for banking clients. When you pick up the phone and say, "Mujhe account kholna hai," system samajh jata hai. You need to open an account, maneuvers you, helps you close the deal. So that was an era where we did a lot of these interventions in terms of AI coming in. NLP, NLU was working seamlessly for us. So we thought, why can't we create a video as an output? So voice is going beautifully as an input. NLP is kind of decoding it, natural language processing, and understanding ability of the system to understand humans, comprehend, and throw a solution back. And we said, why can't we have video coming in as an output, right? So that's when we partnered and we tried deploying a lot of these solutions on media banners. So now if you go to any XYZ banner, one of the cases which we did for Vodafone Idea, we must have seen with Malika Dua. So on the banner itself, you would have a character coming in, you can punch in the banner there, the microphone button, given a command, the character would talk back at you, right?
Right.
That was again a classic case of AI where system would understand English, Hindi, English kind of commands which are coming in, has an ability to process those content and throw a content response back then and there on the banner creative itself, right? So that was
Right.
one intervention which we did. Then we built a lot of these interventions on the sites. So if you go to any of these mutual fund sites, it's sitting on dead dumb contents. How do you make those content more engaging, right? So the site gotten converted into conversational sites now. So you go to SBI mutual fund. You can go there and you can talk to the site. You're going to get relevant content. Site would talk back at you. So stuff like that. Or maybe you talk about clients like Axis Bank. You launch an application and you say, "Mujhe account kholna hai," or "I want to open an account." You'll have a Dyna bot popping in there. So the voice is going as an input, and you're having outputs coming in terms of fancy characters, which will move out of the application or your microsite and will kind of engage with you. So
Right.
that's a space, and now we have started building solutions on a 10-digit number through a video call interface. So we run it on a pack, and people would buy the pack. They can dial a number, the character would pop in like a video call experience. You can give a command, have a seamless dialogue in there, right?
Right.
Even when we started voice call, maybe a decade back, when government launched this very interesting program called Kilkari. So the moment a baby is born in a small village, they capture the mobile number, then they start seeding a lot of health and hygiene information, right? This, I believe, was being managed by BBC Media Actions for the government of India. And
Right.
they start seeding a lot of information about health and hygiene, vaccination reminders and stuff like that. And we still, till date, we do a lot of these campaigns which are around the same gamut of things. But AI has come into play now in terms of how we are reading into the analytics of users, the day part analysis, which hour of the day or which day of the week works better. And this happens in runtime. So when you are dialing up a call to mass broadcast or mass audiences, you can read in runtime and then optimize audiences basis the listenership behavior, as we call it, right? So
Right.
tons and tons of work. If a decade back it was all a voice call, and today we are sitting on a voice lab, which is what we've created, a physical voice lab at the WPP Mumbai campus, which gives you, I keep saying that this is a completely voice enabled lab. So you fire up a command, the lab would open up. You've got multiple pods out there in the lab. So right from a $10 phone to a $20 Geo phone, which is being displayed out there, to talking screens, to talking holograms. We've created an entire world of Google and Alexa with all possible devices. So whether it's Echo Show or your Dot or Google with a display unit, all devices are being kind of relayed out there. And all the skills which you guys have built for us or other partners have built for us, it's all being loaded in there. So whenever a client walks into this particular experiential zone, they get a runtime experience of how a solution is being deployed on a $10 phone which is not connected on internet, to now a $20 phone which is connected on internet but is actually running on Google Assistant as a parent platform. Your Hello Geo is actually running on Google Assistant as a base, and the
Right.
native language support on Google Assistant stands at 9. Hello Geo is ported on 6, if I'm not wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how a $10 device is now moved to becoming a smart feature phone device, where input is still going on voice and the output which is coming is a fancy content, because the $20 phone, with India being the cheapest market when it comes to data, is loaded with 600 piece of content in there. But the input still is going on voice because of literacy
Right.
barrier. So we
Right.
kind of display all this as part of the experiential zone, that here's a device set and here's the bunch of campaigns which we have created. Here's another device set which is now upgraded and is sitting with 100 million odd people. What are the kind of solutions which we have built around there? Right from there to talking screens, we have created some smart mirrors because it's a combination of XR and voice coming together. So you
Mm-hmm.
fire up a command on the screen and it's going to throw content back at you. Likewise, the hologram screens which you see on PVR and stuff,
Right.
we've gone a seamless Amazon Alexa integration into it. So you can get people to play jackpots. So if it's vending machines at the airport, which you see, you can load up a hologram on the top. You can invite people to come and play jackpot. They can enter, they can just fire up a command saying that roll up my jackpot, starts moving. If you get a product on the screen, you don't have to insert $10 into the machine, the product would come out. So that
Wow.
seamless level of integration with Alexa, jamming with your smart hardware device, with your existing hardware, which you've placed at airports or any other place where people have a lot of leisure time, all that can be bundled and a lot of solutions can be created. So I think the voice lab gives you that runtime flavor of things. And the world of Google and Alexa, as I call it, gives you almost all possible skills active in the Indian market right now.
Wow. Sounds like a marketeer's candy land, right? Just go in and
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
fun. Yeah.
So what happens is, most of these advertisers, when they walk into this lab experience, they would feel that voice must be a voice call or voice must be something on Google Assistant, right? That's the two thoughts
Correct.
they have at a broad level, but they would never know voice as a biometric angle to it. Like when I spoke about tuberculosis and voice being able to solve that problem, or COVID and this pre-screening testing is being done by it, something which even you weren't aware, right? Someone who's an expert in the space is not keeping a tap of that. So that lab gives you that runtime experience. So a lot of myth which client would have in their minds and their voice cannot achieve this objective. Once they walk in, experience it for 20 minutes, they come out fresh.
Right.
All what they say is we need to land this call haptic.
Right, right. Awesome, awesome. So I'll just go back to something that you touched upon initially, right? Which was that even 10 years back on a voice call, someone would say, "Mujhe account kholna hai." And today, when they go to the SBI IMF bank, they still have the same query, right? I want to open an account, and the website sort of talks back at
Right,
at
right.
the user. So essentially, what has happened is the use case has remained the same. The technology has obviously evolved, exponentially, and
Yeah,
the channel has essentially changed. But the engagement has remained the same, right? Which is voice.
absolutely.
So
And
yeah, yeah,
look at the vernacular and language support in these platforms. So Google, we said about 9 languages. Alexa now with Hindi edition stands at 2 languages. Speech by Nuance, I believe, supports about 16 languages. Right? India has got primarily about 22 languages. JioPhone supports 22 languages.
correct,
PM Ke Man Ki Baat, the largest podcast platform in the country, which has touched about 600 million people, is available in 19 languages. That shows that anything you are doing with telephony and with multiple languages support is going to give you scale. Podcast market in India stands at 93 million PWC
right,
numbers, right? But PM Ke
right,
Man Ki Baat, which is a podcast platform, has touched 600 million users,
correct.
which is this is classic voice for you.
Correct, correct,
Right?
correct, correct. No, voice is definitely very powerful, and just talking about the numbers and covering the landscape of voice AI. So there are pretty big numbers out there, right? The report that you mentioned from PwC. So people say that voice-based shopping would rise to, let's say, $40 billion by 2022. 27% of global online population is using voice search on mobile, and in another couple of years 50% of all searches would actually be voice activated.
Yeah.
So in the middle of all these big numbers on the voice landscape, what has your experience been working with brands and voice?
All right. So the way I see it currently, when you throw these numbers, and these are all global numbers, and the scenario is definitely upbeat because if you see Alexa globally has got about 100,000 skills, India has got about 30,000 skills, and the number one skill is Hanuman Chalisa and Sanjeev Kapoor's recipe, followed by jokes and stuff like that. So there are large number of people who are already accessing those content, right? Google search volumes again all time high. You would see a lot of reports floating in there, which says about 20 to 30% searches are coming in through voice, right? And when you're
Correct,
giving a command and input on voice, the output has to be voice in some form. One of the reasons now podcast is available as part of search results, right? So there's a dearth of content which is available on the web right now. So a lot of people who are giving input on voice are getting output as video or text link, right?
right,
So there's a need to create a lot of skills. And that's the success which we are seeing right now with our brands. Some of the work which we have done together, which is on Pepsi or GSK, is we've
right,
created a lot of these destinations out there. So riding on the voice search wave, a lot of brands are now creating destinations. But is it doing enough for the last mile? The answer is no. I think last mile is still getting predominantly driven by the omni-channel platform support. So WhatsApp commerce, you must have seen the last 6 months, the kind of rise we have seen. And
correct,
RBI has given a nod to WhatsApp Pay as well. So another couple of
correct,
months down the line, you'll have the enterprise open up for WhatsApp Pay as well, right? So
correct,
commerce is going to pick up, is already picked up in a big way on the enterprise or the omni-channel side of it, as we say. But on voice, I'm still seeing limited application. But having said that, some of the work which you guys are doing, which is integrating with larger platforms, which is going to be a hybrid model of voice and text and image coming together, that is something I completely believe in. And I believe that it's going to see success in times to come. Whether we integrate that product onto the banner real estate or we integrate those product into some real estate where e-com is getting triggered. So this is going to make it very user friendly because the input can
correct,
seamlessly go on voice and the output can be a video or an image which people can end up buying, right? So hybrid is always going to work. Though we have created a couple of skills on voice commerce as well, which is end-to-end skill, which is running on voice with a predictive suggestive modeling, where you can fire up a command, it's going to book an order for you. But this is all too nascent in India. So those 40 billion numbers and all the other numbers which you spoke about, I believe that's global, right? Nothing
correct,
India specific. So
correct,
India, I would say the story is voice is picking up, connected voice is picking up in a big way. A lot of skills are getting created, a lot of tactical skills, lot of long-term platforms. So brands who are sitting on content, suggestion and point of view is pretty clear that you already have a content resting on your website. Your audience is now shifting to audio platforms and are using voice as a channel. So create a voice destination for them, right? So one is that, and second one is the wave of voice search. Give them a destination when somebody is coming and searching. Give them a destination to play with. So as a brand, you can be the first mover and you can give them destinations. And
Right,
eventually, commerce becomes the final plugin for the entire skill to make sense. That's something
right,
which is eventually going to happen. And a
right.
big fan of the kind of work which you are doing in that space on voice commerce.
Right, right. Awesome. Got it, got it. Yeah, but also going back to what you mentioned about omni-channel. So Google searches, right, where a lot of the volume is on voice. Google also recently opened up their platform where essentially on a Google search itself, you could, plug in your conversational journeys,
Yeah, yeah.
and someone
The
can
Google
complete a
Business
transaction.
Manager you're talking about, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So have you seen
Insta
some?
is going to open up WhatsApp. I've heard that are going to be having voice and video support, so more users on desktop.
Right.
What would it do to enterprise? I don't have a view as of now, but you can see the ecosystem is opening up in a big way. If
Correct.
you are on Facebook, Messenger becomes your bot. If you are on any other platform, WhatsApp becomes your bot with about equivalent to smartphone population in India, right?
Right.
And if Insta opens up with a bot conversation there, we spoke about GBM coming in, that's going to be a big inroad. So I saw something on MyGov. I was punching in MyGov and I got a message box. I clicked on it and there was a seamless journey which was being
Right.
stitched in there,
Correct.
right? So huge, lot of work happening. And one of the success cases I see, which we can talk about later as well, is the work which you have done on COVID. The
Right.
government of India COVID bot. That's a
Right.
super successful one, right?
Correct. Correct.
So
Absolutely.
omni channel, I would say, is the way to go.
Right. 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 So, also, how do you envisage AI playing a role in the overall ad tech or advertising technology universe? And some ad units that might come up because now there's AI powering those. Can you talk about that as well?
All right. So I think audio OTT market, I think your question is around audio OTT and how ad tech is playing a role in there. So audio OTT as a platform, you're seeing huge numbers, close to 100 million plus on individual platforms. And we are seeing there's a lot of scope for innovation out there. So a couple of things which we have done is a recent campaign we did for Godrej Easy, wherein we did DCO to perfection, which is like dynamic creative optimization,
Mm-hmm.
basis the market and weather, temperature in the market. We landed close to like huge 85,000 odd creatives were being created in runtime and were being deployed. Likewise, if you are intending to buy something on a shopping destination, and you can do a seamless integration of those audiences onto the audio OTT platform. So you checked in something into the cart and then you came back. You checked in a whey protein into a cart, for example. And I gym a lot, so whey protein is something which keeps playing on my mind.
Right.
So you checked in whey protein in your cart and you're not buying it, you come out of it and then you go onto an XYZ platform, you're listening to music, the same ad which you had selected is going to play in there. So it's going to resonate really hard on you, saying that, okay, you were checked in, you not bought it. So that level of ad customization, targeting, data bifurcation, having AI as a core component, all that comes into picture, right? So whether it's DCO at scale, doable, whether it's reading into data and then serving campaigns on OTT, doable with tech now. And the most interesting one, which I see, which we recently did for Pizza Hut and Godrej in the past as well, which is conversational ads. So when you
Right.
go to any of these platforms, the banner ads which you see are, I keep saying dead banner ads. Somebody's going to kill me from the audio OTT partners end, but I feel those ads are pretty annoying sometimes because you're listening to music, you're in the groove, and then suddenly this ad would come in, it'll choke your experience, it'll ask you to click on the banner. What we did was we changed that experience to a conversational journey there. So you're listening to audio ad, the ad which is thrown at you is again conversational, so you can talk to the ad, and the end destination is again a Google Assistant which is resting on voice.
Right.
That's exactly what we did for Godrej in the past, wherein we used to run this format called platelet donation drive by Godrej, if you guys are
Right.
aware. And
Correct.
all the while, we used to have the entire platform on a 10-digit number. So you call upon a number, you would have doctor certified Q&A on FAQs on dengue and malaria, you would have a donor pool and stuff like that. This
Correct.
year, we ported everything onto Google and Alexa. So if you ask Alexa, Alexa, I'm in need of platelets, Alexa would ask you which city you belong to. The moment you say Mumbai and you throw up a pin code, it's going to connect to Apollo in runtime, and it's going to tell you that there are 4,000 donors in your vicinity, right? That level of customization. Now,
Right.
if I were to create a cohorts of audiences where dengue and malaria is rampant, and then if I were to kind of land an ad there, and then get them to interact and open up the Google Assistant. So the entire journey starts with you listening to an audio content. The ad which is coming in is conversational in nature, and you're landing onto a destination which is again a voice destination. So tons and tons of stuff when it comes to ad tech, and a lot of new things can be done. Sonic branding is something which I've been talking about quite a lot. So you need to have a unique signature or a sonic character to your skill to make it all the more relevant, right? And when you see on Alexa, there are tons of people who are now listening to content which is humor and recipe. So while you're even creating your characterization, it has to resonate with the brand. So sonic branding is going to play a critical role in times to come.
Impressive, very impressive. In fact, how you are leveraging technology to connect, blood donors to those who are in the need of blood,
Yeah.
quite impactful. So we do have talked about the entire buying journey, and how voice is playing a role in different aspects. What are your thoughts on how voice technology is altering the consumer search behavior, or rather how people want to discover products using voice?
Yeah, so if you see traditionally people go onto sites and they select like tons of filters to actually arrive at what are they looking at. And if you see the current journey which you guys have built or the ones which we are building, wherein I spoke about predictive and suggestive modeling. So one of our global clients, we created a beta product wherein everything works on predictive and suggestive modeling. So if you're a vegetarian, you're going to get burgers with a vegetarian combo. So we are reading into that data, giving you a veg burger with a smoothie if you are a vegetarian. So those combos recommendations are all auto filtered. Rather, on a traditional journey, you're going to go into a site and select multiple filters, choose it, and then the transaction is going to go ahead, right? So voice is going to make it all the more simpler. And AI, even now, when you are a logged in user, the profile AI still reads it at an omni-channel level, even if it's text. You don't need to have voice, but voice is going to make it all the more simpler, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Interesting. So do you actually feel that shopping on a website with voice could actually mimic the behavior of buying in a store when I'm actually talking to an in-store shopping concierge?
Now that's something which is debatable, but you can definitely make that buying experience, the entire journey, more smoother with the assistant, and especially in COVID times, which is a complete touchless environment, and a lot of
Right.
guys are now actually embedding XR into your WhatsApp bots, so you can actually get a feeler. Look at shoe brands; they can use AR VR as one of the functions inside an existing conversational AI bot to try on a shoe and then eventually buy it. Or whether it's apparels, you can get them to wear it and experience it on a third party URL. It's not going to open up on WhatsApp itself, but you can take them to a AR kit gallery or an external site where you can get them to wear it, experience it, whether it's jewelry, apparel, shoes, and eventually buy that particular product. So the experience cannot be exactly matched when you actually move into a retail outlet and try it out. But in COVID, I think this becomes super relevant.
Interesting. And I think as COVID continues to be around us, we'll see brands adopt this pretty much, and soon it would be mainstream.
Absolutely.
So,
And that'll be good news for both of us.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. That would be music to both of our ears. Right. So, what would you say? What actually brands have been able to achieve in terms of interaction between brands and users, and driving the overall customer experience. Um, is it
So
actually something that brands have been able to achieve, or is it still, like you said, beta or very early?
So I'll give you a couple of examples. I think Godrej Hit is what we spoke about, how we got that entire CSR aspect to life by creating this skill, and how smartly we got the promotions going in terms of end-to-end promotion behavior, right? Now, another one, what we did for GSK, which was with you guys again, was a special partnership which we cracked with Librate. The Sensodyne bot
Correct.
is what we were talking
Correct.
about. So
Hybrid, yeah.
I think the Librate partnership was pretty interesting. You can create a bot, but if you make it more relevant by giving them partnerships with live doctors consultation, or if you want to courier the sample, which people can then try on, and the post sampling journey can be then continued over WhatsApp as well. So you can do a quick check. For a lot of our brands, we are building bots which are predominantly focused at post sampling journey. So when you sample some products, people don't know how to use it. So a lot of tutorials would move in through WhatsApp where they can know how to use that particular sample product. They can share the feedback and stuff like that. So brand and consumer connect is something which is ensured at perfection, I would say, through conversational AI. And this never existed in this form. And this is something when brand realize it, and because of which you are seeing more and more conversational AI-led bots being created, whether it's something which is being done as a beauty advisor bot with a human and bots coming together. So a panel of people who are actually live chatting with the audiences. The initial journey is controlled by bots, where the Q&A happens through the bot, and then bot hands over to humans, where the transaction and everything progresses, right? So we are in phase one doing something like this for one of our beauty cosmetic brand. Phase two is going to have a conversational journey as well through bots
Right.
itself. So
Right.
I would say the list is endless. We are creating a lot of these challenges on WhatsApp. We are creating tons of contests on WhatsApp now. A
Right.
lot of these journeys are being built in as we speak.
Interesting. No, that's really helpful because what you're suggesting here is that actual ROI impact, right? That brands can leverage by adopting some of these technologies.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Now, we talk about Google Assistant, we talk about Alexa. These are still very top of the pyramid or very tier one phenomenon. Are there any specific examples that you have seen, especially in the vernacular space? Because, that is an audience within India, which we call Bharat, which essentially
Yeah.
has been left
Yeah.
out by the app and the website economy as well. So what are your thoughts on vernacular voice technology? Is regional language going to be critical and mainstream in the coming future?
So if you were to understand the India landscape, we are saying close to 1 billion odd active connections in the Indian market, and we are saying there are close to 400 million odd SIMs which are still sitting on dumb phones or feature phones, right? Which
Right,
makes India absolutely unique, because if planet has about 1 billion feature phones, India has half of the planet's population when it comes to feature phones, right? So the treatment which you give to audiences out there has to be completely voice led, because all they understand is a phone which they carry is an absolute dumb phone with green and red buttons. So they know कि हरा बटन दबाओगे तो कॉल लगेगा, लाल बटन से डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया. That's the philosophy, that's the understanding levels they have. So over there, when we create solutions, we are building mostly smart IVRS solutions. All the while it was traditional IVRS. So you call upon a number, press a key to fetch a content. And now the
right,
example which I gave you was Pocket Dentist or Godrej ki Pathshala, what we created. This is all running on smart IVRS. So you call upon a number, and you say Danton mein sadan, it reads that keyword, throws the content back. Or we are teaching for Godrej ki Pathshala, we are teaching them English. So English becomes a serious craze in those markets, right? You talk
right,
about rural India, we are talking about 6.25 lakh villages, with 6 lakh villages in a population bracket of 5,000 and below, right?
right.
70% of those villages are in a population bracket of 1,000 and below.
Wow.
So how scattered rural India is. And if you are
Correct,
landing any unique content using voice in those markets, that one guy over there is going to become your advocate. So we
correct.
land a lot of these chutkules on those market, and when people ask him, where did you learn this from? Then he says that this particular brand had sent me a communication. That's how we
Right,
create brand advocates on those markets. Now, for a perpetual connectivity with those audiences, we create smart IVRS solutions. So English Sikho is something which is a craze. So this particular helpline, you call on a number, it will say Suprabhat ko English mein kehte hai good morning. Beep ke baad aap bole good morning. So the guy
right,
goes ahead and says good morning with a diction, and the server
right,
reads it, ranks it with a 60% accuracy, and teaches them small statements and makes them a hero in their own local villages, right? How is this
right,
happening? This is happening through smart IVRS as a solution, right?
right,
Barring that, I think there are tons and tons of examples. We've been creating a lot of these smart IVRS around Corona as well. So people can call up, get do's and don'ts around Corona, immunization, vaccination reminders. They can set up schedules and stuff like that. So tons and tons of work in that space, which is happening in rural. And obviously AI plays a role when, even if when you're doing a data-led marketing piece in rural areas. So our most successful campaign, which is Lifebuoy infection alert system. The optimization at a scale when you reach out to millions of people happens through AI as a backbone, right? In terms of the day part analysis, what I spoke about earlier.
Right,
So
right.
that keeps playing a predominant role, whether it's speech as a platform, or now you're saying government has issued about 600,000 smartphones to Anganwadi workers. I heard this in the finance minister's recent announcement. And their
Okay.
core job is to offload 10 crore household nutrition data onto those phones. And they are being trained for 6 weeks how to use smartphone. So now if you
Okay.
see, the ecosystem is completely set. Government has spent a lot of money and enabled them with smartphone. Google has spent a decade building that platform, right? With 9 local
Right,
language support. What do we
right,
need to do? Go there and create a skill with the help of haptic. And
right,
the Anganwadi worker picks up the phone in the local languages, fires up a command and gets a response back. So those are the solutions which can be built in. Likewise, there's an interesting case which is happened in Nagpur, some village where a teacher created a mannequin with Alexa fixed inside it. So students can ask a question, now Alexa being in Hindi, and Alexa
right,
would respond back. So Alexa Master Ne, that's
right.
the kind of mannequin they had created. That's an interesting case which I'd covered in one of my thought leadership articles as well. So
Got
tons
it.
and tons of work on vernacular, which I'm seeing, and Voice for Bharat remains one of our critical subject. And as I said, the last decade, the initial 5 years was all Voice for Bharat story for us. Then
Right,
eventually the connected universe happened to us, right?
right,
I think when haptic also began earlier, it was all about a super app where you guys were kind of collating a lot of financial advisory utility applications. From there, now you guys have moved into enterprise and you are suggesting solutions to agencies and brands like ourselves, right?
right,
So that's,
right,
there's an evolution, and this same evolution you can see it on Voice, on individual companies, how they have evolved in their journeys.
right, right, right. And one interesting work that, just like you referred for the government of India, right? That's where even Haptic helped out the PMO's office.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I would say, see, all the cases which we spoke about up till now was Voice and Bharat. But if you were to think omni-channel, there are tons of cases. A very recent one which is live right now, we built something for Punjab government, which is a bot which we have created targeting farmers. And it gives you a lot of these happy seeder communication, because all the stubble burning which happens in Punjab causes a lot of pollution in Delhi. So this particular initiative is running on a conference bridge wherein we're getting an agricultural expert on our conference bridge platform called M Samvad and getting them to talk on a common bridge. Likewise, we've created a omni-channel WhatsApp destination where people can come and select happy seeders and they can get information around it, you know. So
Right.
and the Castrol one, which we've created for farmers, which with you only, right, which was all about
Correct.
creating a contest in regional languages and getting the conversations going. And the
Correct.
one which you have done for Government of India, which is multilingual and some 60 million, which is like a world
Absolutely.
record, like about 6
Correct.
crores. So that says it all in terms of how omni-channel is addressing the larger Bharat and not just the metro markets.
Right.
And WhatsApp is driving that wave in a big way.
Right, right, got it. So we have an interesting question on the vernacular topic, right? So Mr. Bireni is asking, could you also share challenges based on people's accent, because that's faced practically, and how is it challenged? Because India is very diverse. There is
Yeah,
mother tongue
yeah,
influence.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
so as I said, we've currently tried it almost 4 languages, 4 regional languages, and speech in India is available in almost like 16 languages. Diction always remains a challenge, but as more and more brands use it, the ML algorithm goes sharper, and more dictions are being captured, and a lot of these things get sharpened with a lot of data reading. So more and more data the system reads, whether it's pre-recorded or live data, the system becomes smarter basis on the diction. So we are getting good level of accuracy even now on gender detection as well. So all the while when we used to do the calls, a lot of clients are fussy about only connecting to female audiences in rural markets. So when call gets triggered, basis the accent of the call which says hello, you detect whether it's male or female with 60-70% accuracy, and then you continue your conversations further, right? So diction obviously remains a challenge, but as more and more campaigns are getting deployed, the systems are going to get richer, and the accuracy levels are going to go up.
interesting. So essentially, what you're saying is that with AI, we could actually personalize the entire brand and consumer interaction, right?
Absolutely.
Right. That's pretty powerful.
Absolutely. And if you're sitting on first party data, like a lot of our campaigns which we are running, which are more activation led, wherein our people go and door to door collect a lot of information, So we've got access to a lot of first party data, completely opt in and with a complete sign off. Over there, you can weave in a very interesting journey by personalized messaging as well, which is not possible when it comes to broadcasting. But yeah, with
Right.
opt in first party data, a lot of these personalization variables can be built in. And that's something which is always on for omni channel, where users are actually opting in with a lot of information, and you can build that level of customization, whether it's beauty recommendation or the recipe bots which we are seeing in recent times, which gives you personalized recipe basis your inputs which comes in. So personalization is a critical area which conversational AI is driving in a big way.
Right, right. So, so just extrapolating your, your decade-long journey with voice and AI, uh, what are some of the emerging trends that you see over the next couple of months that we could expect in technology?
Couple of months, I think I just did a article which is my favorite, which is what I believe in. Almost like 9 odd trends which I see, which is going to pick up in times to come.
Hmm.
But the one which I am banking big on is XR, which is immersive technology. And even in that, AR is something we've been doing it for ages now, almost like 5 6 years. We initially
Right,
started with Point Art, then Times of India Live. We did a lot of campaigns. Blipper, we did tons of campaigns on Blipper. We created a lot of these augmented reality based applications with what jewelry wear and apparel try on and stuff like that, right? So
right,
that entire space of virtual reality with a lot of these virtual reality devices, cheaper ones, are moving into the Indian market. You can see almost like 12% of the gamers in India are using virtual reality devices, right? So the gaming
right,
integrations for the brands are going to become interesting as I see this. And augmented reality on mobile applications per se, we've done many, but I am seeing a lot of relevancy right now. Shoe trial is a classic example. Nobody is going to check into a shop right now and try all those stuffs because of COVID. So that touchless environment is going to trigger it in a big way. AR is what I would say, and mixed reality where humans and a machine would come together and run some kind of a roadshow, whether those glasses, the Geo glasses which you're seeing. So I was having a call with the Geo glasses team as well, and some of the work which they're doing is mind blowing. So I think in a couple of
right.
months or maybe next year, we would see a lot of those kind of works moving into the Indian market. And I'm
Got
seeing a
it.
lot of players now who are doing a lot of work in that space, like QWR is one of them. We closely work
Right.
with them. So tons of work, especially in immersive technology, is what I see is going to evolve in times to come. Location data
Got
is going to become sharper.
Correct.
Programmatic is already in. Conversational AI is going to be the lifeblood of all communication because it's going to
Right.
give you incremental ROIs as well. So any banner
Right.
communication would have a bot getting associated with it. So I think 2021 is the year for haptic and
Wow.
and competitions of haptic. But yeah, the
Right.
overall
Right.
market is going to grow, and that's my sense, my 2 bits on the trends.
Interesting, interesting. No, that's very exciting to know, and a very good note to sort of conclude our fireside chat on. And now we do have a couple of questions, so I'll just take those right now. So we have a question. So, do you also work on embedded, unconnected, edge-based voice UI?
Oh my God, this needs my technical head to be tech head to be here
Right,
to
right.
answer. But if someone can help me decode it further, maybe. What was the question you said? Let me go to the
Right.
box.
So,
Do you also work on unconnected edge-based voice UI? Oh, I didn't get that. I didn't get that. Brain,
I think
can
I
you
think
just
the
highlight
question
top
is
three challenges that are open? Oh, challenges. I think
yeah.
let's take this. Challenges on the voice space. If you're saying, I'm seeing a lot of there needs to be a lot of data transparency which needs to come in from media giants for us to build a case and take it to our clients. So if numbers on particular voice search category is going up, the numbers needs to be reported for us to take it to our clients and build a case around it. In the absence of data, it's always challenging to create skills. That's how I see this. Make it more affordable. Now, one second. Did I answer your question, Viren?
Um, yeah, so he said three challenges, right? So one challenge that you mentioned was sure having access to more accurate data around trends, adoption trends.
And I think evangelization of this medium is super critical because very few people are aware about a lot of the opportunities. Whenever we speak to our clients, I think the opportunity scale or the opportunity grid is known to fewer people. So more evangelization at a CXO level would definitely help. We need to start talking to CTOs as well, more than CMOs, or rather I would say both, because that's the need of the hour. and a lot of awareness has to be created out there, which is eventually going to trickle down onto a lot of these big brands trying out new solutions. And it has to start with the POC somewhere, which needs a
Right.
lot of evangelization as I see it.
Understood. Understood. I'll just come back to try and decode probably what
And there's an
unconnected.
anonymous attendee who has thrown this question at me, which I don't get it. It's first is done. How about making it affordable for MSME? Another question for Biren. I think Pratyush should take this.
Right. So how about making it affordable to MSMEs, right? Right. So that's where, partners like Haptic would actually come in and work very closely with the likes of GroupM to making it more affordable so that doing a POC at a very large scale can actually become realistic. And there are not a lot of internal approvals that have to come in. So as technology platforms, Haptic is investing a lot in making our platform self-serve, very easy to use, so that and also replicable. So one activity that we have done for some of our existing clients, can you reuse that piece of code? Can you reuse that implementation
Absolutely.
or development? And basically reuse it over and over so that the cost of development comes down, and essentially you directly deploy it and deliver the results instead of building the entire thing ground up for each and every enterprise. So these are some of the initiatives that we are doing as technology players to make technology more accessible as far as pricing is concerned.
Absolutely. Rather, I would say the POC should be done free of cost for some clients, which Pratyush is not okay with.
Right.
But it's for
So
some clients, we should just do it and show them
I think
the power of the platform.
our investors may not be very happy with that. So let's keep it at that, because I do need to keep my job next time we do this
As an
interview.
agency, I should always try my luck. Thanks, Biren.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks teaming up with Neeraj on that, Viren. Uh, Cool. So I see that we don't have any other questions. So any other closing thoughts that Neeraj you would like to share with us or the audience?
Like I said, and we spoke about the trends and we spoke about how it's going to evolve in times to come. And 2021 conversational AI is going to play a critical role. And we have to talk about it more and more in various forums and get more and more clients to know about the kind of work which is happening in this particular domain, because these are not like ancient platforms everyone knows about it. This is
Right.
something you need to just come out and talk about it. More you talk about these solutions, more you write about these solutions, more people read it, more people get inspired, and more delivery would happen in the marketplace, and we would see some really useful use cases coming out. Right now, when we are going as a technology company or as an agency, we are thinking from a one track mind in terms of, this is a problem, this is a one track solution. When I interact with the creative agency, I get a completely different thought process altogether. And when I check with a technical partner, he says this is feasible and this is awesome, right? So more and more diverse minds to be applied onto this technology, which get us more and more use cases, which is going to help the industry overall. In 2021, we will see a lot of work organically happening on these platforms as well. So creativity combined with technology can take it to the next level, is what I firmly believe.
Interesting, interesting. Perfect closing thought. But before we actually sign off, so there's a clarification on that question of unconnected voice UI.
Yeah, so if I were to just decode that, it says voice based user interface is what I understand. Edge based, voice based user interface. Embedded, unconnected, edge. Oh my God. So if the person is still there, if you could simplify this question for us, maybe. Oh my God, questions. Example of unconnected voice based user interface and elevator. Oh, this elevator question was there earlier as well.
Correct.
And microwave, I definitely see a use case there. And given command, these commands are processed locally within the gadget and these are not connected to the cloud. Okay, microwave, there are a lot of integrations which are already there in place. Elevator, me and Pratyush were discussing that it's going to be chaotic if multiple people come and given a command out there, rather than the touch-based interface works better. Having said that, if any of the international market, if there's a success case which is being deployed, would be happy to know that. But right now, I don't have any such use cases. The couple of cases with smart hardware which I gave you was talking screens and talking holograms, and how we are getting users to play jackpots and stuff like that. Or for some clients, when we are integrating Alexa into smart speakers, or we are integrating Alexa into air conditions and all the smart hardwares, and that's what these guys are tom-tomming about when they launch their TV commercials as well. So Alexa becomes a
Right.
clear, or the voice becomes a clear USP. 3 years back, Amitabh Bachchan was all about AC mein hai Wi-Fi. Now you see a communication which says give a command and you can shut the AC. So all
Right.
that voice interface with smart hardware is anyways picking up.
Right.
If that answers the question.
Right. I think
And
there was another aspect to the question around what if the device is not connected to the internet. So I'll try and take a crack at that. Right. So
yeah,
so essentially AI ML is something that the kind of resources that you require to do processing that's not possible on device, and that's why you need to connect to the cloud so that you do processing on the cloud, and interface is via the device locally. Having said that, there are some recent advancements that have happened where on-device processing of a lot of these AI ML algorithms can take place, and there are some specific use cases, at least on the industrial side, where on-device AI algorithms are being run, and the device necessarily doesn't have to be connected to the internet or to the cloud. So I hope that answers your question.
Pratyush, there's another one for you, which is from a computer graduate, Mr. Murugan,
Right.
which
So
is
he's
right up there for haptic.
Yeah, correct. So can you give me a detailed explanation on that, and which algorithm should I use to get best accuracy? A question noted. I will have my ML engineer reply back to you on your email with more details on that. I am on the business side, so I would not like to act smart on this and then take this question. I'll take the next one from Miss Tanya. So she's saying, have you deployed any use cases for utility industry, electricity? The answer is yes. Again, using some of the third-party social apps like WhatsApp, Instagram, we definitely have done a lot of work for electricity and utility companies as well. We can definitely connect offline and get more details on that. Uh,
Right.
yeah. I think there are a lot of requests for sharing the contact details. This is something that we'll definitely do uh, right after this call.
Exactly.
Yeah.
POC on voice commerce is what I mentioned. We did it for one of the global clients, and we piloted it in India as well. Uh, but again, not significant. It's too nascent in India, Kunal. As we make inroads into this particular space on voice commerce, end-to-end voice journey, we'll keep you posted on the results. But currently, I would say too nascent. And there's something very interesting coming up from Haptic, which is a hybrid model, voice
Right.
plus video. That's going to be a neat one to talk about next time when
Right.
we jam.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there's one question on any use cases for agriculture.
Many.
Yeah, there are many. You want to talk about what you are doing with Punjab government?
That's something which I spoke about already at
Yeah.
length. Is
Right.
on the stubble burning issue. We have created a complete WhatsApp bot journey where user can seek a
Right.
lot of information about how to
Right.
be a happy seeder and
Correct.
not create environmental pollution. So that's
Right.
entirely being built. Another one which is on regional languages. WhatsApp
Right.
supports multiple regional languages, so you can actually select the language and then get into that journey, which is more text or image or video led. And something
Right.
similar we've done for Castrol and Farmers, which was being managed by Haptic.
Right.
So
Uh,
many cases, I would say.
Yeah. Some more examples that we have done at Haptic would be delivering farm advisory to farmers, because what we have seen is that farmers are not necessarily very educated about farm health, right? Understanding what kind of diseases are inflicting their crops, and what is the best action that they have to take, what pesticide or medicine they have to disburse. So WhatsApp doubles up as a vernacular channel where you can ask of the farmer to take a photograph of the crop, upload it, we do an analytics on top of it, and disburse the relevant advice. So those are some more use cases that we are seeing in the agriculture space.
Voice search vernacular, like a serious use case. Like if you see voice searches in India right now on Google, 2 out of 3 searches are coming in from tier 2 markets, which is pointing at literacy as an issue and people firing up a lot of vernacular voice commands. And
Right.
the product which Pratyush is working on and Haptic is working on is going to solve that problem in a big way, where you can just pick up the destination where this product is integrated, and you can fire up a command saying that सबसे अच्छा smartphone बताओ या सबसे अच्छा protein batao, and you will get that information back relayed. At position 0 becomes very critical, so your brand is organically going to hit position 0 basis the transaction the product is getting. So yeah, it's going to be very, very relevant. Voice search and vernacular. In fact, a lot of voice search is going to be driven by vernacular in times to come, if it is not already. I think Geophone does the maximum number of voice search queries in Hindi ever
Correct.
recorded on Google, right? There was being a
Correct.
statement being made.
Correct. Correct.
All right,
All right, I think
it's about
that's a
time.
wrap. Yeah, we started on time, and thankfully we've been able to cover a lot of content, and I hope that for the audience this conversation was very insightful, and you turn out to be a lot smarter and intelligent after this conversation. Um,
And if not, you can stay in touch with us.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, guys.
All
Thanks
right,
so much. Thanks so much, Pratyush.
yeah. Thanks
Thanks,
a lot.
Team Haptic, for having me here.
Yeah.
Thank you
Right.
so much.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.